You are, all of you, vermin. Cowering in the dirt, thinking, what? That you might escape the coming fire? Your world will burn until its surface is but glass.
You keep it. I do know how to pick 'em.
Halo 3. What the hell is there to say about this game? It was one of the major reasons to buy an Xbox 360 in 2007. One of the largest success stories for Bungie at 11.8 million copies sold. Halo 3's release had some amazing trailers, ranging from the live-action trailer to the Believe trailer, really hitting us with the tagline, "Finish the fight." Unlike Halo 2's development, where it was tight-lipped and we only learned about it years later, the Bungie devs kept the fans up to date on how the game was going. And though its start was a little rocky, as leadership took vacation during the first little bit, when they got back and got sorted, Halo 3 was a smooth development cycle, and made its proper release window of September 25th, 2007 for the Xbox 360. Now, the influence of Halo 3 cannot be understated. You couldn't escape it, from machinimas to playground arguments about what's better, Halo or Call of Duty. Its online mode was amazing, and the memories I have playing this game with my brother were awesome. But is Halo 3 still the game we remember? Is it truly Bungie's Magnum Opus? Or did we all just lie to ourselves? Is Halo 3 perfect? Well, no, it ain't perfect, but I'm gonna be honest now. Halo 3 is the best Halo sandbox and gameplay-wise, in my opinion. And having played this series for my wife's enjoyment, they said it was their favorite. And though it isn't my number one, it's in my top 3. Ha! Let's not waste any time. Let's finish the fight. Halo 3 takes place mere hours after the events of Halo 2, with Chief basically pulling a Sonic Adventure 2 and ripping a piece off the Forerunner Dreadnought and using it to cushion his free fall from fucking orbit! Here, Johnson and a squad of Marines finds him, at first thinking that he's dead, but Chief quickly shows that his luck is still very much intact.
Crazy fool. Why do you always jump? One of these days, you're gonna land on something as stubborn as you are.
After getting our standard look up and down tutorial, Chief is hit with a big surprise. Arbiter is here! And although his immediate reaction is wanting to put a bullet in his head, Johnson quickly vouches for him, leading to Arbiter informing the party that the brutes have their scent and they have to get moving, leading us into our first mission, Sierra 117. Now, to quickly address something. Halo has always had two-player co-op campaign modes. However, if you brought in a second player, they were just a carbon copy of the Player 1 character. Now, since we have both protagonists here, Player 1 takes the role of Chief, while Player 2 is the Arbiter. Though Arbiter in Halo 3 co-op has been nerfed, as he can't go invisible naturally anymore. Now, story-wise, if you have a second player, Chief and Arbiter are attached at the hip, and both experience the same things together. While solo mode, Arbiter is there for most missions, only really being absent for one. However, both campaigns are considered canon, as it's the same thing at the end of the day. Hence why I have footage of both. One where I play by myself, and one where I played with my brother. If you see a green assault rifle, that's the co-op footage. Oh yeah, we have the assault rifle back. In fact, Halo 3 Sandbox brought in both new and old weapons, and rebalanced them. The assault rifle had its ammo count reduced from 60 to 32, but it was made more accurate to compensate. The plasma pistol supercharge was given an EMP effect, being able to disable vehicles and destroy armor, so it makes killing enemies and boarding vehicles easier. The Magnum was changed again, being stronger than Halo 2's, but has a reduced fire rate and still doesn't instant kill hunters anymore. However, other guns also got nerfed. The Needler can no longer be dual-wielded, thank God. The rocket launcher lost its lock-on feature, and the shotgun went from 12 rounds to 6. These changes were heavily needed, as these weapons were fucking stupid to deal with and broke the game in half back in Halo 2. However, we also got some new guns as well. Since we are fighting brutes instead of elites this time around, the brutes got some new weapons and were also rebalanced. Brutes don't have shields, they have armor instead, so if you break the armor, that's that. They can't hide and recharge it, and can now flinch and stagger when they get hit. Though to compensate, brutes are now more aggressive, and fire much more frequently than other Covenant units. But the new weapons come in slowly, so I'll talk about them when they show up. Like this one, the Brute Spiker. The Brute Spiker is basically a human SMG, though with less ammo, but more damage. It's a decent short-range weapon that eats through shields and will tear through unprotected enemies. So nice! Back to the story. Splitting up with Johnson, Chief and Arbiter along with their squad fight through the jungle, pushing past Covenant patrols and ambushes, trying to make it to the waterfront. However, along the way, Chief slows down as a vision of Cortana assaults his vision, and when he comes to, one of the Marines informs him that his vitals for some reason came up as KIA. Huh. Once we get to the river, though, we see that Johnson and his team made it before us, but they came under fire from Covenant patrols, snipers, and Banshees, leading to our evac Pelicans getting shot down, and us having to go pull Johnson and his men out. When we catch up to where he is, he's being held prisoner, and we get to see a new brute variant, the Chieftain. Chieftains are the toughest assholes in the game, having shields and armor to break through to kill them. They also come in two variants, ranged and hammer. Ranged chieftains usually carry heavy weapons like a detachable plasma turret or fuel rod, while the hammer chieftain wields a gravity hammer, a weapon that feels like the appropriate response to an energy sword. The gravity hammer is a guaranteed instant kill on most targets, like the energy sword. However, when swinging it, it unleashes a concussive blast that knocks everything in front of it away, which makes for a pretty scary weapon to deal with, but a devastating one if you can get your hands on it. Granted, it's only on chieftains, and not every mission has that variant, so don't get too attached to it. Dispatching the Covenant from the Waterworks facility Johnson is being held in, we save our gruff superior, see that Phantoms can now be destroyed with enough firepower, and finally get evac'd out of the jungle and back to the main UNSC base, leading us into Crow's Nest. When our group arrives at the titular location, we reunite with Miranda, and she informs us about the situation at hand. Truth and his remaining forces have landed in the ruins of New Mombasa, the city we fought back in Halo 2, that Regret did a lot of damage to with his ship when he made that slip space jump. Then, Truth's forces started digging. Everyone is convinced that the Covenant are digging for is the titular Ark that Spark talked about at the end of Halo 2, and if Truth finds it, he will be able to activate all the rings and kill everyone. However, Miranda and Lord Hood have been formulating a plan, though they didn't believe they could pull it off without my protagonist ass being there to hold their hands every step of the way, only to get interrupted by Truth and his new voice actor.
Vermin, cowering in the dirt, thinking, what, I wonder, that you might escape the coming fire? No.
I don't know why Bungie chained Truth's VA, but if they wanted to convey how fucking insane this guy became, well, they succeeded. Truth goes on a religious rant, basically stating that he is the instrument of God's wrath and that he will kill us all. But it was a way to also inform us that he knows where we are and that Covenant forces are on their way, leading to us having to defend the base while our forces evacuate. Crow's Nest is like the Pillar of Autumn in Cairo Station, but instead of it being a high-tech spaceship or station, it's an underground bunker with the most advanced technology inside it being whatever computers we dragged in here. Appropriately, Covenant forces choke up the tight hallways with grunts trying to overwhelm us, but with some well-placed grenades and dual-wielding helps us tear through them. Getting to the hangar to get it ready for the evacuation, we have to hold off waves of Covenant reinforcements. Luckily for us, we get turrets to help with the defense. But there is a new game mechanic here too. We can detach turrets and be mobile with them. However, the trade-off is that the turret only gets 200 rounds and slows us down to a crawl. But the sheer firepower you can bring with the turret is just perfect, able to tear through Covenant units with ease. Clearing the hangar, we are ordered back to the command center as brute forces have started pressing every position inside the bunker. Though as we make our way back, we notice something moving through the vents, only to reveal itself when we get close to the command center.
Sir, this way!
Look! Coming out of the vents!
Line them up! Line them up!
Yep, drones are back, and they got a rebalance as well. Drones have been made way easier to kill, as a single shot is now enough to put one down. However, now drones will just flood a room with bodies and try to drown you in sheer volume and firepower. Just stay calm, find cover, and use rapid-fire weapons to clear them out faster. Once we do get back to the command center, it turns out that these guys are fucking magic, as they set up a whole damn bomb in the 5 minutes I was gone. We are tasked to check on the barracks, as they've been overrun by brutes, and while we go down there, let me tell you about the new mechanic here too, equipment. Equipment are tools that can help during a firefight, but brutes can use them as well, making for more interesting firefights. The equipment options we get are Power Drain, a tool that drains shields and breaks armor, Regenerator, which restores shields so long as you stay nearby it, the Bubble Shield, a temporary protective barrier that stops weapon fire both in and out of the shield, Drop Barriers, a permanent directional shield that can be destroyed, and Grav Lifts, which are meant to help you get to higher positions. We also get equipment like Invincibility and Camouflage, which explains why Arbiter doesn't get access to the latter ability. Both are self-explanatory, but you can only get Invincibility if you kill a Brute Hammer Chieftain before they use it, and Camouflage can be found in secret areas or out in the open in some cases. However, there are useless equipment options in the campaign, for the player at least. The Jammer and Flare. The Jammer just screws up your radar, making it hard to tell where enemies are with it, while the Flare is just a flashbang that harms you if you use it, and it only blinds the player. So, these are pretty useless, all things considered. Now, where were we? After clearing out the barracks and saving as many Marines as we can, we use an elevator to get up to the evac point and meet Johnson and his surviving fire team after dealing with some jump pack brutes. Johnson reveals that the brutes have disarmed the bomb, leading us to rearm it, while Miranda says she'll find us another exit. Once we get back to the command center, we interrupt a conversation between a chieftain and Truth. If we use Camouflage or stay hidden, we can listen in and learn that they are trying to figure out how much we know about the portal, implying that what we think is the Ark isn't. Clearing out the command center and rearming the bomb, we make a beeline for the hangar, where there is a service elevator that can get us to a back door. But as we rush towards the hangar, The Cortana visions start hitting us hard, and when we get to the elevator, we barely reach it and are sent plummeting into the depths below, leading us to Tsavo Highway. Tsavo Highway isn't a story-heavy mission. It's just us and Marine survivors trying to regroup with everyone else. Though we do get introduced to the Brute Chopper, a dangerous scout vehicle where if you ram into it head-on, it will instantly kill you, even if you're in a Warthog, Ghost, or Chopper. During this mission, though, we can see in the distance where Truth parked his dreadnought, and, well, it's concerning, as we can see storm clouds forming over the area. Once we regroup with our main forces, we push through a brute blockade and move on to the mission called The Storm. The Storm is our counterattack against the Covenant. The plan is to take down Covenant anti-air defenses to make way for Lord Hood ships to take down Truth's dreadnought, pushing through lake beds with the new anti-air wraith variant and wiping them out. The way is mostly clear, but there is something coming.
Scarab, find some cover, now!
Yeah, you remember how the Scarab was a set piece back in Halo 2? This time we are forced to fight one directly, and all we got is a couple of quads, Marines with rocket launchers, and a frustrated Spartan. This fight is epic, but there is something holding it back, having to rely on Marines to hit a moving target with rocket launchers. Marines don't have the best sense of self-preservation, and having to keep on the move while there is a 50-50 chance of your Marine killing you because they chose to fire while you speed past the Scarab's foot is a very real threat. But what about the Scarab? Well, it isn't invincible, and all you need to do to knock it down is to target its legs with explosive weaponry or something bigger than an assault rifle. Once it's down, you hop on board, find its power core, destroy that, and the Scarab will blow up in a spectacular explosion. Again, an epic fight, but with problems. After killing the Scarab, we push through what remains of New Mombasa's industrial sector, and if we stop to listen to a radio conversation, we can learn about something arriving in the Sol system. But we ignore it as the AA gun takes priority. Fighting alongside Marines and surviving industrial workers through the last of the brute defenses, we are able to destroy the AA gun and get this cutscene.
All ships, fire at will.
This is the way the world ends.
Well, that happened. Yeah, turns out the device Truth parked the Dreadnought over wasn't the Ark, but a portal to it. But before we can give chase, remember that something from earlier? A sickly-looking Covenant ship jumps in and crashes in the city. The Flood has made it to Earth, leading to the mission, Floodgate. Floodgate is us backtracking through the previous mission, but with very clear differences as the Flood ship has fucked up the area and changed the terrain somewhat. Though the true horror here is, the Flood is on Earth! Seeing Marine units getting overrun in the background and hearing squads getting infected over the radio is horrifying. As well, the Flood got retooled again. The Flood have been made significantly easier to kill and break apart, no longer needing energy or explosive weapons to do so. However, the scary part comes from the fact that the infection forms don't need an already infected corpse to be a threat anymore. Should an infector land on a Marine or any unshielded or unarmored target, they will quickly begin to infect them, turning them into a combat form. Or they will find a corpse and just use that, meaning that no matter what, as long as there are bodies, both friend and foe, the Flood can keep swarming you. Though luckily, if you kill the infection form before it goes inside the target, you can save any friendlies or stop a corpse from being infected. But the process is still fucking awful. Fighting our way through the industrial area and saving anyone we can, we push back to where we fought the Scarab to reveal a new group has arrived. The Spec Ops Commander and his forces have come to our aid, dropping elites throughout the area to support us. And although we are also informed that High Charity has become a Flood hive, the ship that crashed here has something important. Cortana. With that news, we and the elites push through Flood defenses to get to the crashed ship, only to stumble upon a new Flood type, the Pure Form. Pure Forms are nasty buggers, taking on 3 forms: Stalker, Turret, and Tank. Stalkers move fast and hit really damn hard, while turrets are immobile but will stick to walls and ceilings and pepper you as much as it can, while tanks act like the Flood version of hunters, being slow but hitting really damn hard. The tank form can also create infection forms, meaning that if there are corpses around, the fight just got a whole lot harder. Though we won't let that stop us from getting to our girl! Beating back whatever is left of the Flood, we get inside the crashed ship, only to have the Gravemind speak to us directly, telling us to give up and join him. Yeah! Fuck that! We do find Cortana, but before we can get anything, an old friend? Enemy? Ball shows up. 343 Guilty Spark. Spark, after saving us, tries to grab Cortana, and when Chief stops him, the two have a bit of a chat, where Spark reveals that he now only wants to help us. So we hand over Cortana and are taken to safety, as the elite fleet burns the area of any Flood infection. Everyone regroups aboard the Spec Ops Commander's ship, where it turns out that the device carrying Cortana is just a message from her. She reveals that the Gravemind is taking High Charity to Earth, which isn't the best news, but she reveals there is a way to stop the Flood without firing Halo, though we have to go through the portal to find out. Now, this leads to an argument where Lord Hood points out that Cortana's solution could be a Flood trap, as she seems corrupted, though the elites Miranda and even Chief agree that if her solution is a trap, it doesn't really matter, because if she's wrong or lying, we have lost anyways. So either it works, or everyone is dead. This leads to the elites allying up officially with the UNSC, and both the elite fleet and a ragtag volunteer force of Marines joining us through the portal to parts unknown. Using the portal takes us and Truth's fleet, who had a few hours of a head start, 2 weeks to make it to our destination, the Ark, a Forerunner construct that puts the size of the rings to shame. This place is massive, and it's supposed to be the place that controls the Halo rings directly. When we arrived, though, the brute fleet was lying in wait. Unconcerned, the Spec Ops Commander, along with our ship Forward Unto Dawn, engages while we begin landing forces on the Ark, leading us to the mission of the same name. The Ark mission is similar in scale to Combat Evolved's mission Assault on the Control Room, though instead of a snowy landscape, it's a desert one. Here we are trying to find the map room for the Ark, as we have zero clue where its fire control room is. This means heavy fighting from here on in, whether we like it or not. First, we are tasked to clear a landing zone for the Forward Unto Dawn, and when we do, it drops off tanks for us to lead an armor assault to the map room. We have to enter a bridge area and activate it so our tanks can get across, though it also reveals something else. A terminal. Now, I have talked about terminals before, but in the original releases of Halo 1 and 2, they didn't have them. Halo 3 was the first one to introduce them properly. The terminals are all text-based, so for Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, that's an impossible task. But for everyone else, the terminals vary on information, depending on which difficulty you are playing on, with easy, normal, and heroic having the same messages, but Legendary has its own revelations. I'll get into some of them later, though. Leading our armored units through the wall, we are forced to engage entrenched Covenant defenses, and also another Scarab. Luckily, though, we have tanks and a Gosshog to fight it, and it makes dealing with the damn thing so much easier. Once it's dead, we dismount from our tanks and push into the facility. Fighting the remaining brute forces, we finally find our map, which reveals that we are not only on the rim of the Milky Way galaxy, showing how far we are from home, but also where the control room is, though Spark gets distracted. Before we can inquire what's wrong, Covenant reinforcements show up, and Spark in a panic says we have to stop Truth before he destroys everything. Pushing back inside the facility, we encounter brute reinforcements, along with the last of the new brute weapons, the Mauler, along with the spike grenades and flame grenades. The Mauler is like the human shotgun, but in a pistol form that can be dual-wielded. Pretty good at point-blank range, but shit everywhere else. Then there is the spike grenade. And yeah, this grenade was available since Crow's Nest, but I want to talk about it here. Spike grenades function like plasma grenades, having a stick effect to them. But unlike plasma grenades, they can stick to any target or surface, though what they lack in explosive radius, they make up for by launching spikes all over the place, easily able to kill unshielded targets in a single burst, or shred the shields and armor of others nearby. While flame grenades are, well, grenades that set shit on fire. Not much else to say. Fighting our way down to the facility, we come across a chieftain and his clan, and after fighting them off, we are evacuated from the area. And though Spark makes an argument that we should figure out what Cortana's plan is, everyone else is dead set on stopping Truth, because compared to that threat, nothing else matters. Leading us to the Covenant.
These 3 generators, and the barrier will fall?
A small section, yes.
Good enough. Johnson, drop the chief at the first generator, then head to the third. The elites will punch right down the middle.
Roger that.
Charlie, Foxtrot. Tower 1 approach has active AAA.
Mayday! I can't control her!
Pelican down! Pelican down!
Brace yourselves, we're going in a little hot!
This mission is the Covenant's final stand in Halo 3. Here we are tasked to turn off the shield generators that Truth activated to protect the Ark's control center. Though our assault is hampered at the start, we are able to push through heavily entrenched Covenant positions to the first generator with the help of our last newly introduced human weapon, the Spartan Laser. The Spartan Laser is the deadliest weapon we can wield, and though it's only good for 5 shots and has a slow charge-up time, it acts as an anti-vehicle sniper rifle, being able to destroy most vehicles instantly while horrifically damaging others in one shot. Hell, if you're good enough, you can snipe brute pilots out of their wraiths. After eliminating brute defenses both outside and inside the shield generator, we disable the generator and see that the elites are able to turn theirs off as well, though our third group, led by Johnson, runs into fierce resistance and are presumably either captured or killed. So we have to link up with the elites and take out the tower ourselves. Although, it's on the other side of the lake. How are we getting there?
Sir, got a flight of birds that need an escort. Take the Hornet, get those Pelicans safely to the third tower.
Oh, fuck yeah! Hornets are also the last new vehicle we get access to. Unlike the Banshee, where it constantly moves, the Hornet is like a helicopter that we can have passengers on. Its machine guns can easily tear through infantry, and its missiles can lock onto armored targets, easily letting us dispatch Covenant Phantoms and Banshees, as well as the anti-air wraiths littered throughout the area. Once we link up with the elites at the third generator, we are easily able to dispatch brute defenses and lower the shield. Now we just lean back and watch as the Spec Ops commander destroys the control center, and we should be fine.
High Charity. By the gods, brace for impact!
Oh, come on! Yeah, with High Charity showing up, it begins launching debris? And it knocks out the commander's ship, as well as spreading the Flood all over the Ark as it comes crashing down. This is bad, as Miranda points out that the Flood is only going to put more pressure on Truth to activate the rings. So we are now on the clock, leading to our desperate assault on the control room, while the brutes that are left put up one hell of a defense. They drop in 2 scarabs trying to hold the line. But once we're able to blow through them, the Chief and Arbiter get inside, while everyone else secures the entrance. Though at this rate, we won't make it, as Truth reveals that he has Johnson and is going to activate the rings. Yeah, remember when I said in Halo 2 that only humans can activate the rings? Well, Truth was aware of that. In fact, he appears to be aware that Halo won't descend people to godhood, and that it's a galactic genocide weapon. Though before he can make Johnson activate the rings, Miranda crashes her Pelican into the control room, and though valiantly kills and injures a few brutes on her own, a moment's hesitation allows Truth to kill her, and emotionally breaks Johnson, who, in his devastated state, is forced to activate the rings, just as Chief and Arby get up the lift. Before we begin the final push, the Flood stops us. However, they reveal that they aren't here to fight us, and that they want to help, leading to the first and only time that the Flood will be an allied force with us. The last push is heavy, as we are forced to fight on narrow bridges with the Covenant forces, doing everything in their power to stop us. Luckily, though, the Flood proves to be an excellent meat shield, and in short order, we are able to break through the last of the defenses, and I'll let the scene speak for itself.
Stop the rings. Save the rest.
Can you see, Arbiter? The moment of salvation is at hand.
It will not last.
Your kind never believed in the promise of the sacred ring.
Lives for the weak, beacons for the deluded. I will have my revenge. On a prophet, not a plague.
My feet tread the path. I shall become a god.
You will be food, nothing more.
No! I am truth, the voice of the Covenant.
So, you must be silenced. Headstones pushed aside. Corpses shift and offer room. A fate you must abide. trade one villain for another.
With Truth's death and the rings being stopped, the Gravemind is finally able to take center stage as Halo's main antagonist. They do a take backsies on our truce, and the Flood again become hostile, forcing us to fight back to the lift through the carnage we left behind for the Flood to infect. However, the Sentinels are once again our friends, and with their help, we safely get out of the control center, only to find out what Spark was quiet about. A new Halo is almost ready to be deployed. Yeah, turns out that the Ark isn't just a place that controls the rings, it builds them as well. It also builds them rather quickly, as it was only a few months ago when we blew up the first Halo. However, we finally understand Cortana's plan. We are going to fire the Halo ring over the Ark, and hopefully kill the Flood once and for all. Though, how are we going to fire it? Well, we need Cortana to answer that, leading to Halo 3's most infamous mission of the same name. This mission, Cortana, has us infiltrate the crash site of High Charity to look for Cortana herself. Though we have seen what a Flood-infected ship looks like before, this is what a Flood hive looks like. The entire place is overrun with fleshy walls and boils that contain infection forms, with Flood all over the place, along with corpses to feed on or lay traps with. It's a disturbing and epic sight. However, that is the only positive thing of this mission. Remember my complaints that Halo 2's level design was very cramped? Well, this mission is the embodiment of those complaints. Tight corridors where there is little room to maneuver and little cover to hide behind, as combat and pure forms swarm you. More often than not, you are funneled into kill zones, and you have no choice but to try and cheese the fight or die outright. And it's a fucking slog all the way to where Cortana is being held. Not only that, but we are constantly assaulted and slowed down by visions of Cortana and the Gravemind. It really slows the pace of the mission down, as we are forced to a snail's pace while these things happen. Though it is subtly revealed here that the visions throughout the campaign were actually the Gravemind fucking with us, showing how powerful this fucker is. Though, when we finally reach Cortana, it does make the hell we went through worth it.
You found me. But so much of me is wrong. Out of place. You might be too late.
You know me. When I make a promise.
You keep it. I do know how to pick 'em.
Lucky me. Do you still have it?
The activation index from the first Halo ring. A little souvenir I hung on to, just in case. Got an escape plan?
Thought I'd try shooting my way out. Mix things up a little.
Just keep your head down. There's 2 of us in here now, remember?
So, this is huge, and you probably forgot about it. But Cortana held onto the index from the first Halo ring, which means that we can use that to fire off the new Halo ring's main weapon, which is honestly a pretty cool reveal. As well, it feels good to finally have our companion back after not having her for the majority of the game. Welcome back, Cortana. So, now we need to buy some time, as the Gravemind is now aware of our plan. So Cortana tasks us to destroy some generators to cause a chain reaction that will cripple the Gravemind's efforts to stop us, which we do in short order. And while the place is blowing up, we backtrack to the Pelican, and with Cortana's help, we get it back online, leading us to the penultimate mission of Halo 3, Halo. While the elites take the surviving humans home through the Ark's portal, Chief, Arbiter, and Johnson stay behind with the Forward Unto Dawn to finish the fight. Crashing the damaged Pelican onto the unfinished Halo, Chief and Arbiter make their way to the control room. However, the Gravemind isn't done with us, and desperately sends whatever forces he has left to stop us. While we fight through his forces, he angrily monologues at us.
Consume the galaxy of flesh and mind.
Interesting story implications there, but with the Sentinel defenses, Johnson giving covering fire, and pure weight of ammo burnt through, we finally reach the control center and reunite with Spark, who informs us that the ring will be ready to fire in just a few more days. Which isn't good enough. We need to fire Halo now, or else this situation will only get worse. However, Spark in a panic says that if we fire the ring, not only could it destroy the Ark, but it will destroy the ring. His ring.
Unacceptable! Unacceptable! Absolutely unacceptable! Protocol dictates action! I see now that helping you was wrong! You are the child of my makers, inheritor of all they left behind. You are Forerunner. But this ring is mine.
Yep, this is the final boss fight of Halo 3. And, well, it's more of a cutscene fight. We can't hurt Spark at all, but Johnson's Spartan laser can, so using that, we are finally able to put Spark out of his and our misery. Johnson, mortally wounded from Spark's laser, tells us to send him out with a bang. And we do. Firing the ring, it begins to shake itself apart, and now we need a way off the ring, and the only way off is the Forward Unto Dawn. Following the path Johnson used, accompanied by a final monologue from Gravemind, we find Johnson's Warthog and get our penultimate Warthog Run. The Warthog Run, much like in Halo 1, is a final sprint towards our only exit while dodging desperate firefights on the way. However, the set piece being the still under construction Halo ring is fantastic. Driving as fast as possible as the platforms behind us fall and the ring's infrastructure collapses around us is epic. And the song, like all the other music in the game, is electrifying. When we see the Dawn, we floor it and make a large jump into the hangar. And though we barely dodge disaster, Arbiter makes his way to the bridge while John plugs Cortana into the ship, and we take off, barely escaping the ring. We make it through the portal, cutting to months later. On a hilltop near the portal site, Lord Hood gives a eulogy to those who have passed away from the previous 3 months, from the Pillar of Autumn's crew to the crew of the In Amber Clad, and those who didn't come back from the Ark, with the Arbiter there to give his respects as well, but to also apologize that he came back to Earth alone. After that, Arbiter leaves back to his home along with the elites. So, what happened to Chief and Cortana? Well, depressingly, when passing through the portal, the Dawn was cut in half, thanks to Halo exploding and disrupting the portal itself. John and Cortana are stranded in a random spot in the galaxy. Luckily for John, there are cryopods that he can rest in until someone comes to find them, and reassured that the fight is finished, John goes into cryo, but telling Cortana to wake him when she needs him. And that's how the original Halo trilogy ends, like how we began, in a cryobed waiting to be woken up when we are needed. Honestly, a bittersweet ending to the original trilogy, but an ending I am personally okay with. Halo 3's story wrapped up everything, from the Human Covenant War to the threat of the Flood being stopped, for now. The story is wrapped up with somewhat loose threads that could be used later for other stories, some of which came from the Terminals. The Terminals are an interesting door to the history of the Halo universe, as they are a series of messages, journal entries, and records that we get access to. In total, there are 7 of these kinds of terminals that you can find, and as I said, they change depending on if you are playing on Legendary or not. When not playing Legendary, you will get messages between 2 Forerunners known as the Librarian and the Didact. They are talking about firing the Halo rings and a tragic story about how their love can't come in the way of duty, as well as other logs about how the Flood fought the Forerunners and how bad it really got, both in the form of a military report and some personal messages from soldiers on the ground. However, should you play on Legendary, we get entries that are a conversation between 2 people, the Gravemind and the AI that single-handedly fucked over the Forerunners, Mendicant Bias. The logs go into a 43-year-long conversation between the Flood and this AI, and how the Gravemind corrupted and turned Bias against his creators, leading to the reason why Halo was fired in the first place. Mendicant wasn't destroyed, though. The AI was put on trial for his betrayal and was set to live with his guilt until he stopped working, isolated and alone. However, Mendicant felt remorse for his actions and secretly laid the plans to help humanity inherit the Forerunner legacy. But his plans got derailed because of, well, the Prophets and the Covenant. Back in Halo 2, when Cortana made mention of something inside the Dreadnought resisting her, that was Bias. Everything that happened in Halo 3 was him guiding humanity to the Ark. It was his plan all along. And the final terminal we find is him making that confession, telling us he was doing it to prove that he regretted his actions from the Flood War and that he would seek redemption no matter what. And that we can inform his master of his change, implying that the portal wasn't closed because Halo damaged the Ark, but that Mendicant shut it on purpose. Interesting. But that's Halo 3. Holy hell! This is Bungie's magnum opus for the Halo trilogy. Its story has a good finality to it, from every weapon from the previous 2 games being available, to having old enemies become friends, to the end of each threat that was built up for 2 games. And I think it succeeds. To my wife, this is her favorite Halo game, as they love the story and seeing Arbiter and Chief working together. And though to me its story isn't perfect, it's still an amazing end to an epic trilogy of games. But that's not the end of it. Halo 2 may have been my first experience with Halo multiplayer, but Halo 3 is where me and my brother really got the majority of our fun in. Halo 3 introduced fully customizable Spartans and Elites, customizable maps, and other ways to get creative with the games. It has one of the best multiplayer sandboxes out there, in my opinion. I got my community together for a Halo 3 community night to try and relive those glory days, and well, I'll show you how that went. I am a god! Halo 3.
Shut up. There's something.
You forgot there were explosives there, didn't you?
There we go.
I literally jumped over your wing when you clipped my fucking feet. That's
I am Neo. What do you expect?
God damn.
I am a god!
I'm to bring you down to how do you lock on with the freaking... Oh, damn it!
Is that thing dead yet?
Yes, it is. Fuck you, boss. Fuck you. Fuck you for the win.
Get in cold. I got cold. Oh, God damn it.
This was a terrible mistake.
Yeah, you're like fully exposed up there, like an absolute genius.
My brain's like, oh yeah, be up there, safe, because I'm thinking of infection, right? You guys really just stop seeing it as an accomplishment for murdering me.
So the accomplishment of killing someone's that's better than me.
Oh, what the fuck? Bullcrap! No. I did not even see you for a single frame before I shot through the wall.
Come here, you lure bastard! Son of a mother!
I watched you go in there, and I'm like, I'm gonna shoot there.
Halo 3 may have been Bungie's magnum opus, but it wasn't the end of Halo's story. Though Bungie was getting tired of making Halo games, they agreed to make 2 more games for Microsoft, which would end up being Halo ODST and Bungie's last fuck you swan song, Halo Reach. Were they good? Were they bad? Well, you'll have to tune in next time as we look at my favorite Halo game, Halo ODST. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon for notifications, and share this video around. And I will see you guys either on one of my streams or with the next video when we drop feet first into hell. See you next time.